The invention of the modern shipping container, as we know today, is only about 50 years old. Before this, loading, unloading, and handling of cargo from ships was a nightmare. Most of the cargo was moved using human muscle. Ships would take days to load and unload, sometimes as much time as the ships had spent in sailing from one point to another. Sorting and distribution of cargo manually was time-consuming, labor-intensive, and above everything else, just dangerous. Typically, someone would be killed during these processes every few weeks. So in 1955, when an American businessman named Malcolm McLean began transporting goods directly from trucks to ships in locked container boxes, the world of shipping was ready to be transformed. Dock workers enjoyed safer working conditions and injuries and deaths diminished. Loading and unloading times had dramatically improved and shipping rates were cut in half. He sold his idea to the United States military, who at the time was facing a logistics problem of shipping equipment to Vietnam. Rather than return with empty containers, McLean saw the opportunity to collect payloads from Japan, the world's fastest growing economy at the time. With that, the era of international trade had begun. Today, approximately 60% of the value of all goods transported are shipped in containers. This is a $4 trillion industry. McLean had truly revolutionized world trade. However, not much has changed since then. Till date, containers are only visible when they are at the ports and after they are delivered to the consignee. One could only confirm the status of the cargo in these two locations, even if there were security issues during the journey of the cargo. Breakage of seals, theft of cargo, and leaking containers are fairly common in the world of shipping. To add to it, last-moment detours and port delays are now the industry standard. All these factors can potentially damage the shipment and lead to millions of dollars in lost revenue before the stakeholders have any idea of what's going on with their shipments. And this is especially true with perishables and sensitive cargo. In fact, a study by WHO estimated that about 1/3 of food produced is lost or wasted globally. That is 1.3 billion tons of food and $1 trillion. A large part of this wastage happens during the supply chain as temperature of products are compromised during the transportation. So if we can find a way to get this information and react proactively, it would be groundbreaking. Well, what if I told you that there is a way and that this change has already begun? Smart containers is the next big thing since the invention of the modern containers. Just like smartphones changed the telecommunication industry, smart containers are all set to revolutionize the shipping industry. So, just what is a smart container? Smart containers are your average shipping containers, but pre-installed with sensors that are connected to a network. These containers can sense any movement, thereby keeping the cargo safe. The interconnected sensors in the containers collect and transmit data in real time. Collecting such data can help to optimize the supply chain. Sensor data provides precise information about the location of a container, allowing for optimized fleet management that results in less repositioning and more efficient use of fuel. Often, energy is wasted on shipping and repositioning empty containers. Estimates suggest up to $20 billion a year is spent on this activity that leads to unnecessary fuel consumption. Avoiding empty container shipping could allow the industry to reduce carbon emissions by 6 million tons every year. There's more. Tracking containers also allows customers and port operators to predict when ships will arrive at their destination, preventing bottlenecks in the supply chain. However, for me, the number one use case will come in the handling of perishables and food. How? Well, these sensors are not just about GPS tracking. These technologies can do a lot more. They can collect and remit information about temperature and humidity levels inside the container. That's not it. They can also regulate conditions within the container. Think about that for a moment. Stakeholders will now have the ability to adjust temperature and humidity levels inside the container while the cargo is in transit. Let's take the example of bananas. Transporting bananas over long distances is a challenge. When exposed to oxygen, fruits continue to ripen. However, with the new technology in the smart airtight containers, atmospheric conditions can be controlled precisely. These sensors allow shippers to carefully monitor and control the amounts of carbon dioxide, oxygen, and nitrogen at any time in the units during the journey at sea. By controlling the ripening, the system ensures an extended transportation window of up to 45 days and arrival of the bananas in perfect condition for a prolonged shelf life in supermarkets. The ability to automatically adjust conditions is new, and large-scale adoption is still in the works. Naturally, there is still a lot of work to be done, but I'm excited for the future with smart containers that is all set to drive down costs, increase transparency, and lead to better control of shipments.